Hi there, welcome to the Gardens and Graveyards channel. My name is Charisma and today we're working in the garden and we have been slowly but surely deadheading and just cleaning up the garden in different ways. And one of the ways that I'm going to do that today is I'm going to dig out some clumps of aster and move them to a different part of the garden. Why am I doing this? For a couple of different reasons. The environment around the asters have changed as the garden has grown up. They are actually just getting really crowded out by other plants now that the other plants are mature. And asters start to kind of fade and fail as they get older. So by digging them up, dividing them, and rejuvenating them, I will actually have a longer lifespan on them and better blooming. Also, as my garden matures and I adjust things to have different kind of layering, different textures and colors, and an overall different feel in the garden, I will be moving perennials and shrubs so that I can create even more beautiful spaces in the garden. These asters are actually going to go out close to where we have some beech asters, where we have our Nephophia and our Russian sage, to create a big mass of purple asters. The asters are a bee magnet and a butterfly magnet. When they are in bloom, the pollinators of all sorts are just like a big cloud around them, which are really, really fun to see. This particular one is right next to the walkway from our driveway to our front door, which means everybody who walks by here gets absconded by slightly angry bees for bothering them. As the plant gets bigger, it's even more in the walkway. So that'll be great to get it out of this particular space. The second one I'm going to dig out is really just super crowded by all kinds of shrubs and trees and perennials around it. Just needs to have some room to grow and breathe. And the third one that we're going to dig out is under more shade than it has ever been because the tree next to it has grown up and it's shading it, and the potential for bloom goes way down once they're in shade. So that's what we're going to get started on today, and then I'll share with you some other places that I've cleaned up recently. These are the asters that I'm talking about. This narrow-leafed plant here. But we also have these, which are the bridal wreaths that belong to this kind of crinkly leaf down here. So you can see how they're kind of growing together. I have lilies over here that didn't do as well this year, and I think part of that is because the root system of the asters are messing with those lily bulbs.
Well, the aster patch is smaller now than it was before.
Yeah, you're right. The aster patch used to come out into our pathway where Spencer is standing now, and it has slowly gotten smaller and smaller. So I think that dividing it and giving it some space in another area will be beneficial. They say we get rid of any weeds.
Yeah.
Right off the bat. I don't think the viola matters as much, just the bird stuff. Actually, I think this was over here because there's all these lilies right here. I think it was like
I think so too.
over here, and it's migrated.
I agree.
The other one is over here by this cherry tree, which wasn't even planted here when we planted the asters. So it's around the side. And you can see how congested this bed is. So there's a Fothigilia, or Fothigilia, how do you say that word? Plant right here. And it's like being taken over by the cherry. And then we have asters starting here and going around here, but we also have iris and gladiola and rose. There is 1 or 2 dahlias that are in here. I have no idea where they are because everything is crowded. So we're gonna dig up the asters. So now that we have the 3 clumps out, the 3rd clump came out from underneath these sumacs right there. We have a trailer full of asters. And I'm gonna plant quite a few of them out there. I'm just gonna dig a bunch of holes and then we'll pop them in. But essentially we're gonna plant them mostly out front here and then a couple in the back. All right, so there we have it. I planted 1, 2, 3, and 4 clumps. I really feel like this space is done now. And the next thing that we'll be doing is working on the irrigation for up here. I want to get a sprinkler for this area because these are all drought tolerant, but there's some young plants that we just want to make sure get watered like maybe once a week. We do have a soaker hose in this area that works great, except that it sprung a leak back there. I just tried to repair it and it's like kind of beyond repair, and this soaker hose has been in this space for like 5-6 years. So we're gonna work on that a little bit over the next week and get this area irrigated, and then a sprinkler over there, and then that will be it. Then the next thing is we'll have a chip drop done, and we'll put all mulch all in this space, and then of course mulch around the flower beds. This lithodora needs to be cut back. It's just massive, and it's just time.
And turning into the other bed.
Most of it isn't even attached to the ground. It's rooted in here. The rest of it.
Like a sideshow Bob haircut.
Time for a major, like,
Yeah.
This isn't a haircut. This is like a whole new hairstyle. Which means, to begin with, we could just hack. If you want to know where my mother plant begins.
This is the one that struggled for so long too.
It did.
And now it's just gone running amok. How do you know where you're at? You keep cutting until there's nothing else to cut.
Huh?
How do you know where you're at?
Just try to keep away from the beginning as good as I can. It's just like, okay, that's just. Dead wood underneath here, so.
Yeah.
If it doesn't bounce back, we'll probably just replace it. There's so much dead in here that it might just need to be replaced.
Yeah, it's in there. These three lithodoras are one of the first plants that we put in.
These are one of the very first plants we planted in this garden, so.
Cool.
There's a lifespan in all plants. All right, now we have this weeping cherry tree, which it needs to get taller because it's really, on this side, especially on the sun side, it's like this much too long and draping on the ground. So I don't know if there's really anything over here that I'm gonna cut, but on the other side. So with weeping trees, this cherry tree is about 4 years old. It needs to get taller so that its branches aren't draping all over the ground. But because they are. They're like, all of this is sitting on the ground from here to there. So I'm gonna limit up so that we could walk by it and it's not, I don't know if these will like root in the ground or not, but we definitely don't want that. The deal with the weeping cherry tree or any weeping tree is you can't just go and cut it right here. Because if you do, this is what happens. You see how this branch is coming straight down? I cut it here and now we have branches going this way. Branches going this way. Obviously you can do that because I did, but it's not really the way you want to. This branch is a little bit more weepy than this one, so I'm going to take this one out. The best way to trim a weeping tree is to actually come up here and cut it all the way up at the crown. But because it's so young, I'm not open to doing that just yet. I'm just taking out the ones that are draping on the floor. If you can find a leaf that's pointing kind of down, like if I were to trim this one, I would choose to trim it on this leaf because it's already pointing down. So the trajectory of the new growth would be downwards, not straight out or out.
Interesting, isn't it?
Okay. This one. See, like this one got trimmed, and now it has like all these branches, and then this is on the floor. This is what's happening.
You're glad you know what you're doing. I wouldn't even want to know this thing look like I did.
Okay. Is this one on the ground? This one. This one's.
Watch your fingers.
Okay. Hopefully that one, let this one drape down.
Oh, sure.
Great. This one. Great, I think that's gonna be fine for now. It's not like a true prune like you would a cherry tree. That would happen in January. This is just a maintenance issue so that it's clean underneath there. All right, so it's been a couple of days of just random cleaning up the garden. Still plenty to do, but I thought I would just give you an idea of what I did get done. And yeah, no like huge projects other than maybe the aster and the lithodora. We do have some big projects coming, which is why I want to get all these little things done. So a few days ago, I came through and deadheaded this rose cambium, and it's only been a couple days. It is time to do it again. So you just come through and pop off any of these spent blooms. They are prolific seeders, so I do what I can to prevent too many seeds spreading because, well, I have a lot of these plants everywhere. I love them, but you know, enough is enough. All right, then today we moved asters from here and uncovered these lilies that were being smothered. I kind of replanted them, put some compost down, and hopefully they can maybe catch up and bloom this year. I'm not sure, because everybody else is already starting to bloom. I did some deadheading on the daylilies. I believe I cut back a bunch of the forget-me-nots that were in there. And it's time to cut back those hosta flowers too. They're looking a little weepy back there. Let's see. Deadheaded gladiolas and sun credibles, and then we cut back this lithodora quite a bit, trimmed up the cherry that was draping all over the ground, and on the other side of the cherry we moved the asters that were basically where this pot is and a little over. Moved that clump, and then we moved a clump that was right there. You don't even miss it because the columbine is all spread out through there. And we also cut back all of the native Shasta daisies, and it just looks so much cleaner. I need to rake it, but man, that was something that really needed to happen. And then up here we just planted the asters. I just showed you that a second ago, but just to give you reference, they didn't move that far. We planted 4 clumps of aster up here, and as a little side note, this pontilia that we planted, it's blooming and attracting pollinators. Thank you very much. This little guy was a rescue from a nursery, and he's loving his new home for sure. Because I did the video in multiple different days and times, I'm not entirely sure what all else we captured, but I'll throw it all up in here on this video so you have an idea, of course. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we did in the backyard, and then we can say goodnight. It's overcast today and around 65, which is so amazing, but it's also misting. It's very strange. It's almost like you're standing by the ocean, even though it's half a mile away, and it's just like a fine mist. All right, I'm just putting my pruners away and we'll go out into the backyard and see what happened out here. So in this garden, we harvested our peas, took down the trellis, got rid of the peas, and I just did that this morning, and I swear that little grouping of celosia or amaranth is like several inches taller already. Tomorrow I will be harvesting my straw flowers. So stay tuned for that video because it's going to be specifically about how I harvest and dry cut flowers to use in arrangements in the winter. Hey, look at this. I've got yellow lupin blooming. Fun. My dianthus opened up and it smells really good. And over here, we've got a little dahlia. This is our first dahlia of the season. Open. Actually, no, that's the second one. I have a first dahlia of the season. It's a delata. Is in here. Got this huge dahlia that I don't know what it is because I just had an extra rhizome and stuck it in that pot. But then we have this delata. Oh, isn't she just precious? It's a really short stature dahlia. She's got several blooms coming. How fun is that? I also have feverfew blooming. Oh, it's so sweet. And look at this flowering maple. There's so many blooms on it. I'm so excited. Okay. This doesn't have to be a full-blown tour, but look at these beautiful things. And I wanted to show you while they're here still. Look, I really do have California poppies. I'm so thrilled. All right, we're gonna pan over here. And the last thing that I did was trim these roses. And basically all I did is take all the dead roses off. There's a ton of buds on the lower section where I had deadheaded already. So you could see all the little tiny buds. And I suspect the same will go for the top of that rose in no time at all. I did a little bit of deadheading on the suncredibles in there. And we've gotten another couple of harvests off of the raspberry, which is really exciting. And just a quick note, another quick note. But look, our squash are blooming. It's so cute. And we did that viola arrangement last week. This is what that pot looks like after I cut all of those violas out of it. It doesn't even look like it got touched. So much fun. All right, there's always so much going on in the garden this time of year, and it's hard to not be completely distracted and show you all the things all the time. But that is going to do it for this video. I hope that you're celebrating your life and you're having a fantastic summer, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.